So, as per my previous video, you may have seen that we'll be getting some new Insignia bonuses. We're also getting some new mounts. Ultimately, these are the 4 new bonuses we shall be getting, and yes, a lot of the older 4-slot mounts will be able to actually use these. Thus, I've gone and updated my 4-slot mount document with all of those. There's a link in the video description below and pretty much all of my other videos too. That's where you can always find it. And yes, it has every single 4-slot mount that I know of in the game. If I miss any, absolutely let me know. But it even includes the new mounts upcoming. The Hote Now rune board and the Beholder rune board. But yes, if you just want to find a list of which mounts give what bonuses, you can see that right here. You're looking for Tactician's Precision? Well, unfortunately, still, only these 3 mounts give it. As for the new bonuses, Defender's Retort, Allies Resilience, Artificer's Enticement, Cavalry's Alarm, you can see all of the mounts in existence that give those. There is also the 3-slot mount bonuses that you can use with those 4-slot mounts, and you can see which ones would give those. Be aware there's been a slight changed with regards to the preferred bonuses due to the introduction of these new 4-slot ones. I do have some recommendations here for what bonuses to use. I do need to update it a little bit, in particular after I've done my testing on these 4 new bonuses, because there are actually some very useful options. Other than that, the full list of 4-slot mount insignia bonuses that you can use there and what they actually do, but otherwise then all of the mounts. They are sorted alphabetically within their rarity. So initially there's the mythic ones sorted alphabetically, then you go to the legendary, then it's epic, so on and so forth, all the way down to just the green ones. This goose is, yes, green. I just didn't have the tooltip and all that when I created it as it to be green. But yes, even some green mounts are going to have the new bonuses. Allies Resilience, Defender's Retort. Again, this took a lot of work, many hours, just scouring all of the mounts, checking the ones I do have, and some of them I don't have, and I had to do just some analysis to check what the bonus is actually going to give, and then ultimately updating all of these, adding the 2 new mounts that we're getting with this year's Summer Festival. Again, these rune boards will be available for then. You can also see exactly where each of the mounts are coming from within the document. If you do notice, it's listed just below them here on the left side, each and every one of them. So again, be aware when people make builds and guides and things like that, they suggest you to use a certain bonus, that yes, there are many mounts that give those different bonuses. The most limited one right now is still to this day Tactician's Precision, but it is also the most impactful bonus that there is in the game. Yes, we could have got the Neverwinter hand in the past Jubilee. Hopefully you did get it, and hopefully I made enough of a impression that you should have got it. But again, there's always going to be newer players who miss out on it. Hopefully they will add more with it, because again, it is the most game-changing bonus for endgame right now. Yes, we do have the new Artificer's Enticement, which is good, but it does not fulfill that role. So let's jump into these 4 bonuses and my testing of them. I went and checked, how do they exactly work? Do they stack with themselves? Etc. etc. Again, checking the document, you can see exactly which mounts are going to give it, and even which mounts are going to give it using the preferred slot, allowing you to gain the extra 20% item level boost with them. And yep, there are some here, except weirdly enough, Artificer's Enticement does not have a single mount that can have it with the preferred slot. So let's start with Defender's Retort. This looks like something pretty decent to give some extra area of effect damage. And yup, it's actually going to be pretty okay for that. You go up to your group of enemies, and as soon as one of them attacks you, you can see you deal some damage back to them. Unfortunately, however, much like other bonuses Cryptic come out with at the beginning, it's not affected by all of your damage stats, so it's not really as powerful as it claims. It cannot critically hit, and it cannot gain any benefit from combat advantage. But yes, it can stack 3 times, effectively giving you 350 magnitude potential. But without it being able to crit, or without it being able to benefit from combat advantage, it's basically the equivalent of 55 magnitude. You can see just how much damage you're missing from a true 200 magnitude versus this without having any of those damage stats boosting it. Yeah, quite a lot, like nearly ×4 damage loss, all the way down to effectively the equivalent of just 55 magnitude. But it's not too bad because it is just something a little bit extra, and I would potentially use this instead of Warlord's Motivation, because in most cases you'll kill the adds, the groups of enemies, before your companion even gets to do much. It has its uses and it'll be a little bit helpful for threat particularly, but hopefully it gets fixed to actually be affected by those stats. Next we go to Allies Resilience, and this is a really good bonus. Whenever you receive damage, you will give a stack of defense and deflect to all your nearby allies. It looks small when it's only 0.25%. But you can get that to 20 stacks. Now this does actually stack up, so you can use 3 of them, effectively giving your allies over 0.4% per stack, stacking again 20 times. If we go in combat here, you can see you might initially think it doesn't work. And that is because you will not actually gain the bonus. It's only for your allies. So I can switch to this character's perspective and you can see all of those 20 stacks. Allies Resilience. And this character has gained that defensive buff and that deflect buff. If we move out of like proximity, which is actually pretty huge, you can see the stacks begin to cool down and they're going to drop off. And when they do so, you'll see the loss in defense and deflect. But as soon as you go within range again, you start gaining all of those stacks. And you will gain a stack every time your character gets hit who has that bonus slotted. So it's really nice and reliable, but again, it'll only be for your allies, not for the person actually using it. And that, I'm sure, is designed like that and intended. You do not even have to be in a party to give the stacks to nearby allies. As you can see, this character not in a party. I can summon a companion here, and even the companion will gain those stacks. And it's really good that each stack will just refresh the total duration of all of the stacks. Ultimately, you can see the details just here, and you can indeed stack this bonus up to 3 times, but you have to be very careful with it. If you receive the first stack from somebody, say only using 1 of this Insignia bonus, then that is the most you will ever get from even having 20 stacks, even if somebody gives you their stacks who has, say, 3 of them. A quick edit on that to maybe make it a little bit more clear. Basically, if somebody gives you the first stack and the value of it is only 0.25%, then the max you can get is 5%. But if the first stack you gain is from somebody who has 3 of those bonuses, then the stack would be 0.4375%. And then if you get 20 stacks, then you'd be at a total of 8.75%. Basically, you just want 1 player using it and for them to have 3 of those Insignia bonuses slotted. So this bonus for endgame groups is absolutely going to be used. And it's highly recommended the tank has it because they're the ones getting hit the most. Every time you get hit, you trigger one of those bonuses, those stacks, and you'll continually keep refreshing them. So it's super reliable and a very, very good bonus here. So you might want to go and make sure you have some of those mounts with it. You can get the Space Gubby School mount with it having the preferred. Same with the Pink Sylph Wings, and then there are some other ones here. Even using the Golden Goose or the Lunar New Year's Dragonelle, which are super cheap ones that you could have got during events, have that bonus. But now we jump to Artificer's Enticement and Cavalry's Alarm. Now Artificer's Enticement will stack up again to 3 times, resulting in just over 5-second cooldown reduction on your active cooldowns. It's very, very useful, especially to make sure you get those encounter powers for the artifact call. You need to have them ready. However, you won't want to use so many of them because you'll want to prioritize having, say, Tactician's Precision to give you the cooldown reduction during the artifact call, so you can get out a second full set of encounters. Super important. But artificers will help you prep for it. But it will depend on build whether that will be useful to you. A lot of people will probably want to still have Enchanter's Hex, then have maybe a Warlords, and yeah, don't know how much room you'll be able to actually fit in these, maybe just one of them. You may get people arguing that it does not stack, just as you have those people arguing that Tacticians does not stack. And that's just because they don't understand how it works. The cooldown reduction from these abilities is negatively affected by your recharge speed with this exact formula. Which means the more recharge speed you have, the less effect those bonuses are going to give you. Which makes sense because you're already gaining the cooldown reduction through the recharge speed rather than ending up with like double the effect. It's how the devs balance these. So again, be aware of that. And it does stack 3 times. Can give you up to 5.25 second cooldown reduction if you have 0% recharge speed. And finally, we have Cavalry's Alarm. And that works fairly simply, right? You just go and cast your mount power and you'll gain all of those ratings. It's actually quite a ton of ratings. 3,000 to every single one of them. And you have 15 ratings. The problem is it's not exactly that reliable. It will only last for 20 seconds. And yeah, sure, you can stack it up 3 times and you're gaining over 5,000 ratings. But again, only for 20 seconds, and you have a cooldown on your combat power, which is always 60 seconds. Ultimately, it's not a bonus I would strive to work towards. Something you can use if you kind of have nothing else to use and you don't have all of your ratings maxed out. Ultimately, that is all of the new Insignia bonuses tested and the details on it. Just be aware how Ally's Resilience works. Oops, I have a typo in there for ally. Oh well. But again, link in the video description for all of the 4-star mounts, and you can see exactly which new ones will have those bonuses, along with of course all the older ones. And if they have the asterisks there, that means you can use them with the bonus item level, so that's kind of the preferred mount to have with it. Once again, hopefully this helps. Put a lot of work in updating that, and then yeah, going on to test those bonuses. Ultimately, the new bonus, Defender's Retort, decent for multi-target, but not a must-have, especially since it doesn't scale off all your damage stats. Ally's Resilience, super good for mitigation checks in content where your teammates need an extra bit of survivability, and you can give that benefit as the tank to them. And then you have Artificer's Enticement, useful for getting a bit of cooldown reduction to make sure your encounter powers are ready for the artifact call. I'll most likely use one on my Whisper Knife, as that is particularly important to have your full rotation ready for that. And then yeah, sure, there's Cavalry's Alarm, which is kind of just whatever. Not something I would use. On a last note, there's a little bit of a teaser in the collections for Module 29 with regards to upcoming new mounts. Right here, we can see a new, what looks to be golem maybe, covered in like metal armor with magma inside. Reminds me somewhat of the Hellfire Steed. Then there's a new broom, maybe for Halloween. And then this board, I believe we already seen it, as the Hotnow rune board. Then on the next page, there is this cute fox mount, which we have not seen before. Not in the collections, can't preview it or look at it or anything. Same with the other ones on the other page. We just have a bit of an image teaser. The rest of the images, I believe, were already like that before. So that's pretty cool, something to look forward to. The fox does look pretty cute. Once again, a massive thank you to all these channel members. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.